Okay. Hi, my name's Tom Troe, and I believe everyone can recover from a mental illness and or substance use disorder. I also believe that recovery should be driven by the individual and that they should be empowered to make the choices that work for them. When it comes to my substance use disorder, it started when I was about 12. We would steal booze from friends' parents' houses and kind of go about it in that direction. I went through different phases. I went through my first booze phase and then acid phase, and then that went on to pot, hash oil, cocaine, and back to booze phases. My problem was not in getting clean and sober, it was with staying sober. I would get in a jam, get clean through a treatment center or AA, rebuild my life, and then crush it. Legal issues, destroyed relationships, employment, would get cleaned up and back into the cycle. I even had a year and a half clean at one point. I was almost predictable in my crash and burns, finding recovery, rebuilding my life, and then go back out and back into that crash and burn once again. Somehow, I always managed to have good jobs though. And I didn't come to a mental health center to get better. I entered the doors to make my pain go away. My son and I were shot on the front porch of our Peoria Heights home in September 2002. During the first year, I endured seeing 53 different doctors, had 7 surgeries, spent 32 days in the hospital, went to over 400 counseling, therapy, and medical appointments, had 2 suicide attempts, spent a year on a walker, only able to wear sweatpants and t-shirts. I lost my home, business, spent a month in a nursing home, and moved into a group home for a year. This occurred because one of my son's drug deals gone wrong with what he did not know were gang members, and my other son and I got in the way. I hope if someone out there is still practicing, doing stuff, that you think of how drug use can have unpredicted consequences and can devastate other people's lives. I've sat in doctors' offices and hospital emergency rooms and seen people's expressions change when they find out I have a mental disorder. It used to really hurt when that happened. Today, I find it to be more of a character study. Along my journey, I learned that I had disorders that came with names like post-traumatic stress and major depression. About 7 months into my recovery, my doctor said that we need to talk. Now, when a psychiatrist says we need to talk, it may not be what you want to hear. My daughter asked me if I thought it was normal for 47-year-old men to work 14 to 16 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week, play basketball for 2 hours at a time with people 20 years younger than they are. And, then he asked me if I thought maybe that half bottle of booze that I drank every day might have been a problem. Well, maybe. He told me that he thought I had bipolar disorder, and I probably had it since I was in my teens. He added that he felt I used excessive work, exercise, and booze to self-medicate. For me, receiving a diagnosis for bipolar disorder was the best point that allowed me to turn my life around. I was devastated, though, to learn it at the age of 47. I always knew I was different than other people. I thought I was just a type A personality, workaholic, and alcoholic. Today, I know that learning that knowledge was the best thing that may have ever happened in my life. It was about this time I was going to my case manager and bemoaning the fact that I was bored and how I would enjoy going out and having a few drinks, throw some money in a poker machine, and have some hee-haws with the bartender. After about 3 times of me doing this, he said he was sick of hearing it and I should just go out and do it because I was going to anyway. So I did. I walked in and ordered a drink, threw 20 in the poker machine, which incidentally I lost immediately. I was listening to those that were there. I went back to the bar and kept listening. I looked at the drink, then I looked at the people and thought these people were sicker than me. I looked at the drink again. I looked at the people and realized I no longer had anything in common with them. I never took the drink, walked away, and then have yet to walk back in. Not only was the compulsion to drink lifted, so was the impulse. My life had miraculously changed. That was 18 years ago. I don't know the exact day my life totally changed. At first, I thought perhaps taking medications would do the trick, that there was more to be done. I then thought my recovery specialist should just wave their magic wand and fix me, but there was no wand. It was pointed out that my recovery was up to me, and the staff at the center was there to help me help myself. I had to do the legwork, and the staff would help me remain motivated and support me in my quest, but only as much as I needed. Over time, the messages seemed to start soaking in. Knowledge of my illness had become my most important tool. I could see others getting better and could even see a smidgen of improvement in myself. Hope. What a powerful word. When I came to the center, I had very little of this. I could tell you about fear, anger, shame, guilt, and the simultaneous fear of living and dying. I had become the wounded animal, wanting to lash out at anything I saw as a threat. I talked to my recovery specialist, took my medications properly, and began to go to groups that included grief, anger management, where incidentally I'm a proud 3-time graduate, pain management, anxiety, depression in men, and dialectic behavioral therapy. Later, I did add WRAP, which is Wellness Recovery Action Planning. I can't say the exact day my outlook changed, but it has. I'm now free to make choices in my life. I'm not sure how much of it was going to groups, learning to challenge my self-talk, and challenging my mistaken beliefs, but they all helped. Along my journey, I've had some relapses, but I need never lose hope again. With the help of my recovery specialist, I developed my own treatment program by picking and choosing the tools and knowledge that I wanted from each of my groups, the 12 steps, and our one-on-one meetings. Even more importantly, I came to the realization that I was not the only person with my illness and symptoms. I also came to understand that at the center, there were people who would accept me as who I am, and I need not be alone. Today, the keys to my recovery can best be found in some daily affirmations and self-talk I use. I won't bore you with all 27, but I would like to just share a few of them with you. Among the ones that are most important to me when it comes to a combination of my mental health and substance use is, my best pain management is to get out of my health self and help someone else. I am the only one that has a right to judge my emotions. And then I must always concentrate on how far I've come and less on how far I have to go. This one's an important one. My happiness is not dependent upon others' approval. And this one, it is not a question of how the world treats me, but it is a question of how I choose to perceive it. I hope you can see how my substance use and mental health are all intertwined. I feel I'm a walking miracle. My substance addiction was rooted in my untreated mental health challenges. I do not believe I would have been clean and sober today had I not tended to my mental health. And finally, I can never hope to repay the many people who helped me find this miracle I've been given. All I can do is to try to pass along the care, the compassion, and the gifts I've received. Today, when I introduce myself, it's not as a mentally ill person and a person with addictions, but instead a recovery support specialist, father, caregiver, grandfather, a child of God, taxpayer, and above everything else that at one point I did ever thought possible, and that's a decent human being. Thanks for listening.